MASH wasn't just a television show, it was a cultural landmark. It captured the chaos of war and the resilience of the human spirit through razor-sharp humor and emotional storytelling. Millions tuned in not just for the laughs, but for the honesty. Over 11 seasons, it became more than entertainment. It became a voice for a generation. But what fans saw on screen wasn't the whole story. Behind the scenes, things weren't always as harmonious as they appeared. Tensions simmered, casting surprises unfolded. And now, Alda is revealing details fans have never heard. Who did he secretly clash with? What behind-the-scenes drama shaped the show's legacy? The truth might surprise you. Creative tensions. Alda versus Cooper. One of the most significant sources of conflict during MASH's production came from creative differences between Alda and director Jackie Cooper. Known for his old-school, by-the-book directing style, Cooper often clashed with Alda's preference for improvisation and authenticity. Alda believed the best performances came from allowing actors to explore their characters naturally, rather than sticking rigidly to the script. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Alda explained, "It wasn't about not liking each other. It was about vision. I wanted the show to feel real." The creative tension represented a bigger power struggle between freedom and structure, with a few heated moments behind the scenes. Cooper eventually departed the show, and while his influence was important early on, many credit Alda's approach for guiding MASH into deeper, more emotionally resonant territory. His commitment to truth in performance led the series down new creative paths that hadn't been fully explored before. Looking back, many involved have acknowledged that these challenges helped shape the legacy of the show. What played out in the editing room was often the result of intense conversations and passionate disagreements on set. While not always visible to audiences, the emotional investment behind the camera ran just as deep, if not deeper, than what made it onto the screen. It's a reminder that the most beloved shows are often born out of creative friction and passionate collaboration. Every member of the team brought their own perspective, which sometimes led to powerful artistic tension. In many ways, the dynamic between Alda and Cooper mirrored the very themes the show tackled: conflict, compromise, and finding common ground in the midst of chaos. Their clashes weren't just professional disagreements, they were philosophical battles about what MASH should be, what it should feel like, and how it should speak to its audience. And in that tension, something powerful was born. It's often said that pressure makes diamonds, and in this case, the friction between Alda's emotional realism and Cooper's structure-driven precision helped mold MASH into a series with both heart and discipline. Without that push and pull, the series might not have reached the emotional heights it did in later seasons, heights that continue to resonate with viewers decades later. A friendly rivalry. Alda and Farrell. On screen, Hawkeye and BJ were the heart of MASH's humor and soul. Off screen, Alda and Mike Farrell shared a strong working relationship, but that didn't mean they always saw eye to eye. Farrell, who joined the show in season 4, spoke openly about Alda's intense focus and high standards. He had a clear vision, Farrell said in a Television Academy Foundation interview. Sometimes it could be intimidating. Their occasional clashes stemmed from creative differences. Alda often pushed for more improvisation and comedy, while Farrell aimed for emotional authenticity and subtle storytelling. Still, their mutual respect never wavered. "Alan worked harder than anyone I've ever known," Farrell admitted. That friendly tension actually fueled some of the best moments on the show, as the two actors constantly challenged one another to improve. Their collaboration was key to the show's enduring magic, helping it strike a rare balance between heart, humor, and humanity. Even small disagreements sometimes led to breakthroughs that elevated the writing and performances. These complexities became part of the show's DNA, adding depth to every character and storyline. The set became a place of both collaboration and conflict, where high standards often clashed with differing artistic priorities, sparking creative debates that made each episode more nuanced. In interviews over the years, Farrell emphasized that while their methods differed, Alda's unwavering commitment to authenticity helped shape the tone of the show. Their disagreements never turned personal. They were about craft, about making scenes feel real, raw, and human. Alda valued spontaneity, the spark of an unplanned moment, while Farrell honed in on nuance and emotional layers. That balance between boldness and subtlety gave their dynamic an incredible range and complexity, casting close calls and character evolution. The chemistry of MASH's cast may seem faded now, but But casting the series was far from straightforward and more precarious than most fans realize. Loretta Swit, beloved as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, almost didn't land the role. She was already signed onto another show, but when that project fell through at the last minute, she was suddenly available. "It was a miracle of timing," she said. "I wasn't supposed to be free, but the stars aligned." The role would become a defining moment in her career, allowing her to portray a strong, complicated woman who evolved far beyond the caricature she started as. Her arc, from a strict, tightly wound officer to a deeply layered, compassionate leader, remains one of the most striking transformations in the series. Larry Linville, who played the insufferable Major Frank Burns, embraced his role as the character audiences loved to hate. "I knew from day one that Frank wasn't supposed to be likable," he told People magazine, "but I saw that as a challenge. I wanted to make him human, even if nobody liked his performance." Struck the perfect balance between comic absurdity and genuine pathos, laying the groundwork for future character arcs that took the show in more serious and emotionally rich direction. Linville leaned into the absurdity, but never let it turn Burns into a cartoon, instead grounding him with just enough vulnerability to be believable. And then there was David Ogden Stiers, who stepped into the show in later seasons as the refined and witty Major Charles Emerson Winchester III. Following Linville was no small task, but Stiers didn't try to copy Burns. Winchester wasn't comic relief, he told the New York Times. He had intellect, depth, and complexity. That's what made him exciting to play. His nuanced performance gave the show a new kind of foil, one who could challenge Hawkeye and BJ intellectually as well as emotionally. With Winchester, the show gained not just a new character, but a new voice, one that brought sophistication, stubbornness, and unexpected sensitivity to the unit. Casting wasn't just about finding the right face, it was about chemistry, timing, and sometimes a little luck. Many of the actors had to fight for roles that didn't come easily. Some weren't even the producer's first choice. Others were cast under uncertain circumstances and grew into their characters over time. But the final cast brought together a blend of personalities and talents that felt real even in the most surreal wartime settings. That authenticity became the emotional glue that held the show together for 11 unforgettable seasons. Looking back, many involved have acknowledged that these challenges helped shape the legacy of the show. While not always visible to audiences, the emotional investment behind the camera ran just as deep. Even small disagreements sometimes led to breakthroughs that elevated the writing and performances. These complexities became part of the show's DNA, adding depth to every character and storyline. Fans might be surprised to learn just how much negotiation, compromise, pure serendipity went into shaping each episode, and how many near misses could have changed the course of television history. One different decision, one lost role, and MASH might have looked and felt completely different. The emotional goodbye. After 11 groundbreaking seasons, MASH came to a powerful and emotional end. The series finale, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, aired on February 28, 1983, and drew over 106 million viewers, making it the most-watched TV episode in American history at the time. But the finale didn't just hit fans hard, it devastated the cast too. Alan Alda, who co-wrote and directed the final episode, later revealed, "I was in the editing room and I just couldn't stop crying. We weren't ending a show, we were saying goodbye to a family." The gravity of that moment wasn't lost on anyone involved. It was the culmination of more than a decade of laughter, tears, and growth. Jamie Farr, who played Klinger, admitted that his final scenes were some of the hardest. "It wasn't acting anymore," he said. "It was personal." Loretta Swit described the final days as bittersweet. "We knew it had to end eventually, but that didn't make leaving any easier." Even the more lighthearted cast members felt the emotional pull, because the end of MASH wasn't just a professional milestone, it was the end of a deeply personal journey. The finale wasn't just about wrapping up storylines, it was about closure for the characters, for the cast, and for the millions of viewers who had grown with them. The emotion on screen was genuine. You could see it in their eyes, hear it in their voices, and feel it in the pauses between lines. These weren't just actors playing parts. They were people saying goodbye to a second home, to characters that had become part of their identity. During the filming of the final scenes, the atmosphere on set shifted. There was a quiet reverence, a sense that they were capturing something sacred. Cast and crew took longer to say their line, not out of hesitation, but because they were savoring every second. There were tears between takes, hugs that lingered, and shared glances that said more than dialogue ever could. Every moment was weighted with memories, years of inside jokes, shared struggles, and stories that would live on far beyond the soundstage. Crew members who had worked behind the scenes for over a decade decade felt the weight of the moment just as deeply. Many said it was like graduating, but from a place you never wanted to leave. It was the end of an era, a farewell to an extraordinary chapter in television history. Years later, when asked about that last day, most cast members still describe it as one of the most emotional moments of their careers, a goodbye that never truly felt final. The shift in tone and the fallout. As MASH matured, it gradually evolved from a straightforward comedy into a more dramatic, emotionally rich series. While Al and Alda embraced the shift wholeheartedly, not everyone did, and the changes sparked passionate reactions both on and off screen. Larry Gelbart, the show's original writer and producer, exited after season 4, citing creative burnout and frustrations with the changing tone. It wasn't an easy decision, he told the Los Angeles Times, but you have to know when to move on. His departure marked a turning point, signaling the end of the show's purely comedic era and the beginning of a more complex, introspective approach. Gary Berghoff, known for his role as the lovable Radar O'Reilly, also left the series during season 8. He later revealed that the toll of the demanding filming schedule was overwhelming. "I was burnt out," he said. "I loved playing Radar, but I needed to prioritize my well-being." Still, Berghoff returned for a heartfelt two-part farewell, offering a fitting send-off to one of the show's most beloved characters. His goodbye was one of the most emotional moments in the series, showing just how deeply fans and fellow cast members had connected to him. The tonal shift divided some fans, but it also deepened the show's impact. It went from light satire to something more introspective, unafraid to tackle grief, trauma, and moral conflict. That evolution wasn't accidental. It was the result of intense debate and creative recalibration, a calculated risk that not all networks or creators would have been willing to take. Alan Alda, in particular, advocated for more substance. He believed television had a responsibility not only to entertain, but to reflect the real emotional toll of human conflict. Many of the show's most powerful episodes, like The Interview, Dreams, and Abyssinia, Henry, stemmed from that belief. Alda's influence helped steer the show into uncharted territory, transforming it into a blend of humor and heartbreak that few series have replicated. The tension between visionaries, writers, actors, directors, often gave birth to these deeper arcs. And though it meant parting ways with certain talents, it also made MASH into something timeless, a show that dared to grow, to shift, and to say something real when it mattered most. It wasn't just evolution, it was courage. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.